Hi everyone, my name is Alliyah and welcome back to my podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about why every single little action that you take will actually count towards whatever it is that you're trying to change about yourself, transform about yourself, or basically even just self-growth. So if that's your type of thing, stay tuned and let's get into the episode. Now, it goes without saying that to make any large transformation happen, we have to take small steps. We have to break down the larger picture into small, manageable tasks that we can actually achieve. So each and every little thing that we do in order to make a change to ourselves is a huge thing towards that end result. Now, a lot of us, and I'm one of those people, would prefer for things just to instantly happen and instantly manifest, but it doesn't work that way. And that's why each and every small action that we take is working towards that bigger goal. And if we keep that focus, it makes life so much more easier to maneuver. And when I say breaking things down, for example, say you want to, move areas. You want to move out the country, move out the city, whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you suddenly decide overnight, okay, I'm moving and that's it, and haven't put any plans in place, no steps in place to achieve that goal, how far do you think you're going to get with that goal? However, small steps towards it will help you achieve that goal. And the smallest step that you could take straight away is to actually, in a way, decide where it is that you actually want to go. Is it another city, town, country? Where do you want to go? And then the next step is why? Because without purpose, you're likely to lose momentum in order to actually achieve that goal. So if you're looking at a move, you're going to break it down. And then as you break it down, you start to think about the inevitable, which is how are you going to fund that move? How are you going to support yourself when you're in that new place? Why is it that you want to be there? What is the larger picture? All these things come into it. And then we start to break it down. Is it actually just a simple fact that you actually want to be somewhere in a new location, or is it something else? Is it a new job? Is it a new start? What is it that actually it is that you're trying to achieve? These are the type of things we ask ourselves, and these are the type of things that help us break down the task. Then, of course, there's always going to be the thing of, can you actually afford to move? Can you move? Can you actually afford to buy a new house? Can you actually afford mentally to uproot your family and move? Because these are huge things, and these are the type of things that we need to think about. And then when you've got such a big task at hand, rather than lose momentum, we're going to break it down into smaller, manageable tasks, because that's how we achieve our goals. And that's why we say small things are going to be counting towards the larger goal that you're actually setting for yourself. And these are really, really, really important. Every single small step is important, from making that decision to breaking it down to weighing up the pros and cons to actually deciding if any of this is actually worth you doing. You need to do it, and that's how we do it, by breaking it down completely. Now, granted, for some people it is as simple as saying, okay, I'm moving, pack up and move, and that's fine. But for those people that have actually got their own property, or if they've got children at school, or if they've got family, jobs, etc., it is harder literally to pick up and go. Okay, if you work for yourself, you work from home, splendid, you can just get on with it. But for other people like myself, for example, it wouldn't be that simple. Small steps that I take, though, towards a goal like that are going to count. And that's why small steps count. Every step you take counts towards that goal. Every single thing that you process in regards to breaking down whatever it is that you're trying to achieve counts towards that goal. You cannot expect to achieve something amazing and big by just instantly doing it without actually thinking about it carefully and breaking down every single step. Every single thing that is a part of that plan needs to be looked at carefully, literally like under a microscope. And that's how we increase our chances of actually being able to manifest things, to actually achieve goals and actually get somewhere in life. How many times have you set yourself a goal, or you've thought, okay, I'm going to improve this about myself, this is my self-development task, and then you've just given it some thought and you haven't actually gone back to it, and then you haven't been able to achieve it? And I think the biggest one that we can actually all agree on is New Year's resolutions. Majority of the nation set up these New Year's resolutions, but there's no actual plans to how they're actually going to achieve it. No small steps plan, nothing. And then suddenly, okay, cool, we don't actually achieve anything. And we all know this because come 1st of February, the local, newspapers, the classified section is filled with gym equipment that people have purchased on the 1st of January, saying, yes, this year I'm going to become ripped, I'm going to become fitter, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they bought the equipment, but they haven't actually planned how they're going to use the equipment. They haven't actually planned how they're going to achieve it. They haven't actually thought about how much time they've got to devote to this. They haven't actually given it any planning whatsoever. They've just thought, okay, it's 1st of January. This is what people expect of me. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and buy myself a load of useless gym equipment that I don't even know how to use. I'm going to come and plonk it into the conservatory. And then come 1st of Feb, I'm going to put it up on sale because the other half is driving me batty, saying you've gone and wasted more money on equipment that you're not using. And then because we don't actually put a plan in place, we repeat that cycle again and again and again and again every single year until we actually put a plan in place that is actually bite-sized and that we can actually use and we can actually follow through. Anything that you want to achieve, in my opinion, has to be broken down into smaller steps. So I've used the example of moving. Same thing with a career change. You want to change careers? You need a plan. You need to break it down into manageable size tasks that you can actually execute with no problems. And by that I mean if you're going, say, from being an engineer to want to be a surgeon, that's a huge change. That's going to take a lot of steps, but you need to take those steps. Loads of steps, but you need to take them and you need to make it manageable. And that is a key thing. Manageability and making the tasks small. Not many of us have got the time to devote 24/7 to a transformation. And that's why we need to break it down into small steps. And each of those small steps that we're taking is counting towards that moment of when we're going to achieve the actual goal. Weight loss, moving house, changing careers, even finding a relationship that is satisfying is the same. And the reason I say that is because manifesting in, so bringing in somebody that you can actually connect with and who you feel is worthy of being around you, especially if you're going through the healing process in particular, is a huge thing. Because once you start to think about bringing in somebody else, there's loads of other things that you need to tackle. If you haven't healed from the past, you need to heal from the past. If you haven't let go of the past, you certainly need to let go of the past. And the last one is, a lot of people feel that they need to bring in somebody that will prove to everybody how worthy they are being in a relationship and that the ex wasn't worthy of being with them. That's just you wasting your energy and your time in trying to prove to other people what you're worth. You should know yourself how much you're worth, and that is wasting your energy completely. So if you're a man or a woman, however you describe yourself, and you're thinking, yep, I'm now going to go find myself a new spouse and prove to the ex that I'm worthy of this, and this, and they were never good enough for me, you're still giving them your power. You're not self-empowered at all. Your empowerment lies in their hands, and you're actually not really moving on. And again, that's going to slow down the manifestation of it. It's certainly going to slow down any progress. And to be honest, it's got you stuck in a negative zone. You're not able to get out of that because you're actually doing it for the sake of other people. So there's actually zero growth in that situation. One of the key, I think, steps that any person needs to take in regards to bringing about change is actually rectifying any mindset issues they can pinpoint. Now, when I say rectify, I mean a lot of us are guilty of having a similar mindset that's ancestral. So whatever we were taught by the family is what we believe is accurate and true, and we just go along with that. Nothing wrong with that, but if we want growth, we're not going to achieve it standing in the same position we were when we didn't have growth. So we need to move on, and we need to change, or we need to allow for growth. That is one of the first things you would do. You would actually sit down and think, well, hang on, realistically, what could potentially be stopping me from actually achieving this? Is it the way I think? The chances are it is. How do I change this? And no, you can't change the way you've been thinking for, say, 30 odd years overnight. That's not possible. However, you're going to break it down into manageable, smaller tasks, and you're going to work towards it. Mindset changes don't happen overnight. And that is a real thing that we need to actually think about, because a lot of people will say to you, oh, try hypnosis. Oh, try subliminals. Oh, try affirmations. Yes, try them all, by all means, do it, but it's not going to happen overnight. You're not suddenly going to wake up and think, oh, okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to challenge status quo and get on with it. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to basically chip away at whatever it is that you're trying to basically get rid of. Suddenly putting dynamite under it isn't going to work. We take it in steps, so we break it down and do it that way. So mindset, in my opinion, is the big one. And that's where pretty much, in my opinion, everything basically starts. It starts within the mind, because your heart can take you to a certain degree along the path, but it's your mind that needs to process everything. And that is what is crucial, actually being able to understand that, being able to understand every small step you take towards that goal is vital, it's important, it's golden, it's got to be done. Never ever tell yourself, oh, this was my goal, I wrote out all these things, that steps I was going to take this week, and I haven't managed it. Oh my God, I've not achieved this. Because realistically, the fact you've actually got them written down and you've actually planned for them is showing the universe and showing whoever it is that you believe in, God, divine, however you want to put it, that you are serious, and you're sending out this real serious signal that you want to achieve change. Life happens, things happen, things get in the way. You can end up with a poorly child, you can end up with having to stay at home because you're ill yourself, other tasks take priority. That happens, but that should not be throwing you off your path. That can cause a delay, a bit of a block, but we get back on and we get on with it, because that's how we actually change things. That's how we bring about change. That's how we bring about amazingness. That's how we change and revolutionize ourselves. And that's how we're going to have an impact on other people around us. Now, okay, you might be thinking, I don't really want to impact people around me. Well, no, you don't have to impact people around you. I'm not going to turn around and say to you, you've got to, because, that's not what we're here for. However, for me in particular, I believe that once you actually change yourself, you naturally will inspire other people to reflect on themselves, because the amount of reflection you're doing on yourself to better yourself, others around you who maybe they feel as trapped as you did, will want to do it too. And it's just a natural way it is. It's infectious. Once somebody does something positive and amazing, people around them start to admire it, and a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people who are ready to take on change will start to take on change and will start to question how you did things and ask for advice. And then suddenly, you're like this DIY like makeover person who they can phone up and ask for about maybe laws of attraction, or maybe affirmations, or maybe you've been listening to some amazing hypnosis and that's really worked for you. But suddenly you become a wise person in their jigsaw and you play a pivotal part. And that is an amazing feeling. Trust me, it's an amazing feeling when you can actually, reflect on what you've achieved, and someone comes along and is able to see what you've achieved, and they're reflecting on themselves, and they also want to get to an amazing position in life. Or even if they just want to be content with life, they're asking you to share your wisdom. And that's amazing, because you're sharing your learning. And I'm a firm believer that we should always be sharing what we're learning. That's how we extend people's knowledge. And that's how we actually, in a way, take on critique without it actually, becoming negative. Because if you're sharing your story with somebody and they're like, oh, really? Did you do that way? Would you not think about doing this way? In a way, it's critique. In a way, it's opinion, but it's in a positive way. And it's something you can go on to reflect on. And that's amazing. But to get to any of these stages, we're looking at mindset, we're breaking it down, we're going to change the way we think, but we're going to do it step by step. We're not suddenly going to wake up overnight and say, okay, that's it, my mindset's changed, I am now setting out to become a multimillionaire, and I'm going to do that whilst I'm still a doctor, and I'm going to revolutionize the way I think, and I'm going to be able to open up my business tomorrow, and that's the end of it. No, it's not going to work that way. You do need to break it down. And that's not to say that there isn't any doctors out there that haven't, majorly changed their careers, because there is doctors out there that have actually achieved that. But for you to achieve it, you do need to look at your mindset. You do need to look at other things such as financial obligations, your time obligation. Time is the biggest key. If you're trying to bring about change and you've only got 7 hours a week to do it in, and you've written out tasks for about 100 hours, you're not going to be able to do that in a week. You need to be realistic. And I know I'm kind of like laughing at that. But you'd be surprised at how many people do that, and that's why they fail at actually achieving what it is that they're trying to achieve, and then they actually, in a way, turn it into a huge negative and beat themselves up about it. When, let's be honest, if you've only got 7 hours and you've got tasks worth 100 hours, you're not going to be able to do them seriously, even by the art of delegation. If it's self-growth, self-development, and your mindset in particular that you're working on, someone else can't do it for you. And these are the realisms of actually trying to bring about change. We do need to consider all those essential components when it comes to actually trying to achieve any type of change. So I think I've pretty much drummed the message home about how you really need to break down the task. Small steps are vital in order to bring about transformation, change, self-empowerment, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And that is really, really, really important. And I think the more we are able to accept we can't achieve things overnight, the easier the path gets, because we're less stressed about things. We're not going to start getting hit by anxiety. All these things that would happen if we enter a negative cycle won't happen, because we're being real about the situation. We know that suddenly, we're not going to go from not lifting weights to lifting 60 odd kg suddenly overnight. We know that if we've never worked with weights, we're not going to be going around swinging 20 kg kettlebells and suddenly building up loads of big guns, because it's not going to happen. You got to break down that task. Being real is vital to your transformation, and also to keep you on the path. I need you to stay on the path. I really, really do. And if that means you having to sit there and write out what it is that you're trying to change about yourself, and breaking it down even into 25 steps over the duration of 2 years, then that's what you need to do. There's no time limit on this, because this is your life. So you need to actually be real about that. There's no restrictions on you to complete things within, say, duration of, say, when I've set out a podcast and then the next one comes along. You don't need to complete all those tasks in between them. These pods are for you to listen to and to motivate you, to inspire you, to keep that fuel there so that you're able to continue on with your journey. And it's your life. You really need to own it. It's your life. Take back the control and comprehend how far you've actually come in life, because you've come very, very far, and give yourselves a pat on the back for acknowledging the fact that you want to come about with change, and you want to change your life, and you want to transform, and you want to grow, and you want to empower other people if that's what you're trying to do, or you want to help other people, or maybe you're doing all of this because you want your children, or maybe nephews or nieces, etc., in your family to see that there is strong people out there, and it starts within your actual family. I mean, kudos if that's what you're doing. It's a fantastic reason to go on this journey. But whatever it is that is your reason, use it to motivate you. Use it to keep that fire burning that will keep you on the path, that when you haven't been able to complete, say, a week's worth of small tasks, it will actually fuel you into actually completing them as soon as you possibly humanly can, without stressing yourself out and without causing yourself any anxiety and things like that. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this episode. As always, if you've liked what you've heard, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the podcast, let other people know what it is that we're trying to do, because if we can get the message out to more people, we can spark more transformations and more awesomeness out there. And we're here for a positive reason, guys. We're here because we want to see people do better in general. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to leave you with the final thought of small steps count towards your bigger goal. And with that, guys, I shall speak to you in the next podcast. Until then, guys, take care. Bye.